All right, if you give me a comment in the chat, make sure the audio is working. We're back after a long break from recording. Apologize for the first game. I had some technical difficulties on getting the stream to work, so I think we're up and running now. Game 1 was unable to attend. I was at my daughter's recital for piano, so I believe the end of that game was 6-2, the Capitals.
Go boys. Come on.
Thanks for letting me know that audio is good. So we're getting ready to start game 2 here on Saturday in Fort Wayne. It'll be the Force against the Capitals. Currently down 4 skaters for the Force. We're without Cora, Gia, Oliver, and now injury sustained by Harry in the first game is going to leave him out for game 2. So we'll see how resilient the team is in the face of adversity. Alright, I messed around again here with a setting. You could let me know again if the audio is good. They have adjusted some features on YouTube here, which is kind of messing with me a little bit. Thank you. Alright, in the final minute here of warm-ups again for anybody just joining. This is a Fort Wayne Force against the Columbus Capitals, game 2. First game of the day, Force fell, I believe, 6-2 to the Capitals. We are down 4 skaters now. No Cora, no Gia, Oliver with a hand injury, and now Harry with a hand injury after game 1. hoping for speedy recoveries for both the injured skaters, and then we'll welcome back Gia and Cora when they are not with the Galaxy. Minutes on the first period. Clock set. On the ice to start for the Force is going to be Sutherland, Fryer, Fraze, Llewellyn, and Warner. In net, can't forget about Wyatt Kloss. Opening face-off controlled by the Force to Warner. Flips it off the glass into the offensive zone. Gathered by the Capitals. They couldn't clear it out. Maybe offsides, perhaps. Another face-off now taken and gathered by Sutherland for the moment. Taken away by the Capitals. Stopped advancement by Fraze. Flipped into the neutral zone by the Capitals, back for Warner, now onto the stick of Llewellyn. Mason fans on a pass attempt here, shot by the Capitals off the post, cleared out by Sutherland for the moment, still on the doorstep. Goes just under the outstretched glove of Kloss as the Capitals notch one up here quick in the first period. Face-off is controlled back by the Capitals onto the stick of McDonald in the neutral zone. He advances down the ice. Capitals take away the puck. Zaremba in the mix as well. Capitals the other way through the neutral zone. Cross the line to gain. Blackburn there on defense. Shot gets punched wide by Wyatt. Blackburn now with the puck. Comes off his skates. Max McDonald fighting for it. Ties him up in the corner. Taken away by Zaremba. Back on the stick of the Capitals. Swinging wide. Feed in the slot. Deflected away by Blackburn. He reverses. Flips the puck up to Zaremba. Kept in by Columbus. Taken away by Blackburn. He comes off his skates once again. Zaremba dumps it down the ice. It's going to go for icing. Or no. There's a penalty. I'm in a bad spot down here. Hard to see that opposite end of the rink, but I believe we have a penalty because they were pulling Wyatt on the advancement down the other way. So maybe I was wrong because they still got 5 skaters on the ice. So I'm not too sure what that was. We're going to call it icing. But I don't know. No, it was a penalty. They had 5 on the ice, now they got 4. So power play units, Fraze, Sutherland, Potts, Warner, and Llewellyn. Deep down in the offensive zone for Fort Wayne. Sutherland to contest him in the corner. Puck comes back. Fed across the blue line, intercepted by Columbus. They're going to have a shot right at the net here on Wyatt. A swing wide. Wyatt's clear out of the net. Wraparound opportunity stopped by Sutherland. Warner now clears it off the boards. Up and down the rink it goes. Icing's waved off as Columbus gathers it on their end. Under a minute on the power play. Puck taken away by Fraze. Fraze skating towards the net. Stopped by Columbus. Now onto the stick of Warner. Warner loses a handle on it as Columbus flips it up. Not out. Back to Warner. Warner shoots one towards the net. Saved by the goaltender from Columbus. Back to Warner. Cracks one. Another save by Columbus. Puck comes out once again, kept in by Warner. Feeds it across the blue line to Fraze. Fraze gets tied up right at center ice there. Gets a rehandle on the puck, feeds it down low into the corner for Sutherland. Backhanded up high, back to Warner at the blue line. He's going to take another crack at it. No, he gets it poked away. Back the other way goes Columbus. Llewellyn back on defense. Pass can't connect for the Capitals. Shot, kick to the side by Wyatt Quas. Sutherland now with the puck, feeds it up, not out. Columbus at the blue line, fires one towards the net. It is wide and off target. Around the boards it goes for Llewellyn. Pass attempt blocked by the Capitals. They got one in the slot, fed out. Can he get a handle on it? Takes a shot, save. Wyatt, he didn't know where the puck was. They shot it right into his chest. Fed back down low onto the stick of Warner, and he rips one off the boards. Not out. Kept in by the Capitals. Fed around behind the net. In possession of Columbus. Out front, there's Llewellyn. Take a shot, goes wide and off the mark. Still Columbus in the offensive zone with sustained pressure. Back and forth the puck goes. Taken away by Fraze. Fraze gathering behind his own net. Chips and chases right to the boards. Once again, can't get away with it the second time. Llewellyn tries to flip it ahead. Now onto the stick of Sutherland. Advancing down the ice in the neutral zone, gathered up by the Capitals. Coming in to gather this one up is going to be Cumberland. Coming away with is McDonald as he chips it ahead, pinched off in the corner. Zaremba joins the mix and takes the puck away. Zaremba now racing through center ice. His advancement is stopped. Columbus back now, across the line to gain. Blackburn on defense with Cumberland. Shot goes up high, glove to the side by Quas, tied up down low with Columbus players Blackburn. Coming in for backhand off the side of the net, secondary attempt. Comes out to Fryer. Kept in, now onto the stick of McDonald. Back to Blackburn. Blackburn feeds it off a Columbus player. Cumberland gathers up the loose puck. Down deep in the offensive zone for Fort Wayne. As Columbus mounts an attack the other way. Through the neutral zone with Warner back on defense. Llewellyn trailing. Shot blocked in front by Warner onto the stick of Kiefer. Kiefer now through the neutral zone for the Force. 8:25 remains in the first. Down one score is Fort Wayne. Columbus now gathering the loose puck across the line to gain. Contested by Sutherland. Taken away now by Warner. Fed up but not out. Back on his stick once again, throws it high off the glass this time to clear it out. And it'll go all the way down for icing.
Good play.
So the Force get a breather here. 8 minutes remains in the first period. Score of 1-0 Columbus. On kind of a goofy goal, so there hasn't been any really hard shot at Wyatt that he hasn't been able to control. Just kind of have a bad bounce. Into the corner go the Capitals. Now behind the net, taken away by Warner. Feeds it up to Potts. Potts tied up. Coming in to gather the loose puck there is Sutherland. He's got Llewellyn ahead along with Kiefer. Feeds it off the boards, try to get it to him. Stopped by Columbus. Still fighting for it. There's Kiefer as he feeds it up to Potts. Potts one-on-one the other way. Dumps it deep in the offensive zone. Fed up high. Warner tries to stop it and keep it in. It makes its way into the neutral zone. He feeds it cross ice to Llewellyn. Llewellyn dumps it in. Columbus now looking for somebody. Through center ice, gathers it up. Llewellyn back on defense, contested by Sutherland. Isaac flips it ahead to Potts, can't quite get a handle on it, trying to get a shot off, blocked in front there by Kiefer. Gathered by Warner. Can't clear it out. Back down in the corner. Llewellyn going to pick it up behind her own net and feed it around the boards. Onto the stick of Sutherland. Sutherland tied up for a moment, but gets across the first blue line and tries to dump it in the offensive zone. And we're going to have a penalty, I believe, coming up here on the Capitals. So it'll put the force as a hooking penalty. Put the force on another second power play with 6:42 remaining in the first. Power play unit of Cumberland Blackburn with Zaremba, McDonald, and Fraze. Puck on the stick of Zaremba. Now on to McDonald. McDonald winding wide. Backhands it over to Cumberland. Cumberland throws one towards the net. Tip down in front. I believe that was by Zaremba. If he didn't get a stick on it, it was mighty close. So score there, Fort Wayne. And I'm not sure who to credit that goal because the shot went right through where Zaremba was standing. And I'm in a bad spot. So either Cumberland or Zaremba with the goal to tie this one up. 1-1 with 6:30 remaining in the first. Power play comes away with one for the Force. Wipes the penalty. Back on the stick of Fraze. Comes out to the neutral zone for Cumberland. Now Columbus takes away and on a breakaway. Blackburn trying to get back towards the net. Round shot. Save. Quas. Cleared out for the moment by Blackburn. Blocked by Blackburn. Shot goes high up over the net from Columbus. Pressured by Cumberland. Tied up for a moment. Again, taken away, now on the stick of Zaremba. He reverses it back onto the stick of Fraze. Murphy surveys, feeds it ahead down the ice. He's going to throw that one, try to be right on net, which does. Bounces off the goaltender. And Columbus gathers it up back the other way. Gathered by Llewellyn, around for Fryer. Fryer off the boards, trying to get it to Fraze. Nothing doing as Columbus is providing some pressure here. Out to center ice for Warner. So he flips it high off the glass and into the offensive zone. Puck comes out. Potts trailing now as he comes off the bench hot. Taken away by McDonald. McDonald down low for Fort Wayne. Around behind the net, still has control of the puck. Feeds it towards the slot. Potts there, couldn't connect. Columbus with the loose puck with speed the other direction. Llewellyn back on defense with Warner. Swinging wide, contested there by Fryer. Tied up and taken away by the Force. Kept in at the blue line by Columbus. Throw a shot towards the net, blocked by Warner. Turn and fires another one there. Puck is loose. McDonald flips it up. And back and forth puck goes. Columbus now with it out wide. Feeds the slot, can't connect. Fed ahead on the stick of Fryer. Fryer out front for Fort Wayne. Has it knocked off his stick, but goes to McDonald. Shot goes through the crease and into the corner. Cumberland ahead for Fort Wayne. Getting back on defense is Cumberland. Steals the puck. Potts joins the mix here. As goes onto the stick of Kiefer. Kiefer across the line to gain, swinging wide to the left. And back in deep in the offensive zone for the Force. Columbus looking to break out through the neutral zone. Stopped pass attempt there by Kiefer. Taken away by Blackburn, and it's into the neutral zone. Back for Kiefer as he gets up off the ice. A quick change by the Force. Columbus can't really advance that puck deep in the offensive zone as they're going to retreat and gather it up on their end of the ice. Fanned on pass attempt, almost picked up by Sutherland. Now in control is Zaremba. Fires a shot towards the net. Score! Maxwell Zaremba puts the Force up 1. .255 remains in this game. Or not in the game, in the period. Puck gathered up by Columbus, comes back to Blackburn, tries to feed it up to Fraze. Stops advancement once again, back forth. Blackburn taking the puck into the offensive zone for Fort Wayne. Stopped wide. Feeds it cross ice for Cumberland as he tries to rifle it down deep. Leaves it on the doorstep for Fraze. Fraze towards the net. Murphy stakes a shot. Score! And they're coming in bunches here for the Force as Fraze notches another one. Going to be a race for the puck. Warner gets beat there by Capitals player. They shoot one towards the net, and it's saved by Quas. He doesn't know where it's at. Kicks it out from underneath his pads. Taking the face-offs, McDonald comes out for Fraze. Murphy now with a head of steam here as he puts it through the neutral zone, and he's going to race ahead for the puck. Beats the defender to the puck, now is tied up in the corner, taken away by the Capitals. Flipped around the boards by Columbus. They tried to get it out, kept in by Warner as he puts it back in deep for Fort Wayne. Ahead is Fryer with McDonald. Back comes Columbus. Llewellyn and Warner back on defense. Swinging wide, takes it, feeds it towards the slot, can't connect. Secondary attempt, leaves it on the doorstep behind the net. Columbus to gather it, feeds it up high to the blue line. They're going to walk it in. Looking for a lane here, feeding the slot, blocked by McDonald. Now picked up by McDonald. McDonald, the round one defender, gathered by Warner. Capitals lose a handle on it, goes cross ice, gain possession in their offensive zone. Shot one, blocked by Warner, feeds it up to Fraze. Fraze into the neutral zone, make Columbus touch up. Onto the stick of Max McDonald. McDonald swinging wide and picking up speed. He's got Fraze, goes around one, still has the puck as he ends up losing it there in his skates, and Columbus comes away with it. Stopped advancement there was Fraze. Now on the stick of Murphy. Murphy, round one. Oh, just lost the handle on it at the last moment. Down deep in the corner as Murphy's going to go for a change. Fed ahead by the Capitals. Kiefer on the ice there. Back for Cumberland. Aiden tries to put it around the boards. Couldn't get much on that clearing attempt. Blackburn there on defense, forcing them to swing wide. They feed it up to the blue line. Pass tipped ahead by Potts. Kept in by the Capitals. Down low, Blackburn stops him in the corner, steals the puck, tries to flip it up but not out. Shot from the blue line. Stopped before it could get anywhere and dumped out of the zone by Cumberland. Period will expire, 3-1 Force after 1. Start the second period here. On the ice is everybody, so I'm not sure who is starting. There we go. We'll get them to clear out here. We still got 6 skaters out there. All right, now to be Kiefer, Sutherland, Potts with Llewellyn and Warner. Puck out for the Capitals. They take a shot, blocked by Quas. Up high for the Capitals. They try a cross-ice pass there, can't connect. Challenged by Kiefer, kept in by Columbus. Fed up to the blue line for Columbus. They shoot one, blocked by Kiefer. Potts trying to clear it now, onto the stick of Kiefer, into the neutral zone. Racing ahead there is Sutherland, as Columbus back the other way. Skating it in. Knocked to the side by the Force. And Warner can't clear it out. Fired towards the net. Kicks wide into the skates of Llewellyn. Feeds it around to Kiefer. Kiefer tied up by Columbus. Back down low for Llewellyn. High off the glass, back to Kiefer. Same spot, same result. Skating it out is Llewellyn. Into the neutral zone. Gathered up by the Capitals as it's back in their offensive zone. Challenged now by Warner. Warner pinches him off. Flips the puck around. Columbus player falls down. Shot towards the net. Kicked with the skate of Llewellyn. Little save there by Quas as a weak shot made its way to the net. Now broke out by Kiefer. Going with him is Sutherland as he dumps it in, goes for a change. Fighting for it. Sutherland. Back now. The Capitals through the neutral zone. Loses a handle on it. Puck comes and flips up high. Back down for Blackburn. Blackburn. Feeds it cross ice. McDonald going to be the first one there for the Force. Reverses and takes it towards the net. Taken away by Columbus. Now Fraze to come in and challenge. Fraze is taken down as the puck comes into the neutral zone for Cumberland. Advanced ahead by Columbus. Now on the stick of Fraze. Murphy with McDonald and Zaremba. Fraze around one, leaves it to McDonald, takes a shot. Oh, punch to the side by the blocker of Columbus. Back for Cumberland, hops his stick. Columbus trying to do a stick lift there. Cleared in the neutral zone. Zaremba now with the puck, feeds it cross ice, blocked pass attempt, and Columbus gathers the loose change. Shot, couldn't get anything on it. It's a stop by Blackburn. Up high at the blue line, another shot attempt, kicked with the skate of Blackburn. Stick comes out of Cumberland's hand. Puck on the backside there, save Quas. Loose out front, Zaremba comes away with it, feeds it down the ice. That'll go for icing. Puck into the corner, gathered up by Fryer. Flipped and batted out there by Sutherland. Columbus back the other way. Towards the net, knocked away at the last second. Back up high, the blue line, walking it, takes a shot from deep, blocked by Warner out front. Now Sutherland with the puck. Racing ahead with Fryer and Kiefer. Loses a handle on the puck as Columbus dumps it back the other way. We lost the visual on what's going on here. I believe it's setting on the back of the net as they're trying to clear it off. Out front, feeding up to the blue line. Cross ice pass for Columbus. Take a low shot, blocked by Warner out front. Kiefer swatting at it, gathers it up now. Feeds it over to Sutherland. Doesn't quite connect. Kiefer now with the puck, trying to get it ahead to Fryer. Columbus. They're going to play this game in the neutral zone. And now back to the stick of Sutherland, behind his own net. Looking to break out. His advancement is stopped by Columbus in the corner. Held off on the boards. Now Kiefer throws it into the neutral zone. Dumped in deep by the Capitals. High off the glass for Kiefer. Skips back into the neutral zone, gathered up by the Capitals. Fed ahead, blocked pass attempt by Kiefer. Dumped in the offensive zone by Sutherland. He's going to race off for a change. Breaking out, can't connect on the pass. It's going to come back for Llewellyn. Icing is waved off. Puck is knocked off the Columbus skater stick there by Cumberland. The shot goes towards the net. Initial save there's by Quas as he covers it up. Score is 3-1 Force with 8 minutes remaining in the second period. Face-off one back by the Force for Blackburn. Rips it around behind the net. Gathered by the Capitals. Challenged by Cumberland at the blue line. Swarmed by a few Force players down low for Blackburn. Feeds it up ahead onto the stick of Fraze. Murphy dumps it into the neutral zone. Puck comes back for Cumberland as he feeds it up to Potts. Potts rips it down low, the offensive zone for Fort Wayne. Gathered by the out, stopped advancement there by Fraze and Blackburn. Capitals come away with it, race towards the net, take a shot, save Quas, and score. Initial save, and I'm not sure if that went off the post after it hit him. So is that a bad angle? But now the Capitals bring it within one. Columbus controls the puck after they score and dump it deep into their offensive zone. Warner back to gather it for Fort Wayne. Picks up the puck in the corner, throws it high off the boards, and Columbus keeps it in and puts it back in deep. Fed around by Llewellyn, can't clear it out. Challenged by Kiefer, and now Sutherland skating towards the center ice as Columbus. They take a shot, blocked up high by Warner. Secondary shot, skips through the crease, goes rink. Touched ahead by Fort Wayne, going to be picked up by Sutherland. So he has it stolen away. And Zaremba crossed the blue line as Kiefer tried to make his way back, and they're going to get called for offsides. Face-off goes back in the defensive end for Fort Wayne. Warner going to be the one there for the force. Feeds it off the glass. Columbus takes a shot. Would have been wide, but stopped by Llewellyn. Kept in by the Capitals towards the net. Another shot. Save Quas. Face-off win up high at the blue line by Columbus. They shoot one low, blocked by Blackburn out front. Picks up the puck, feeds it into the neutral zone. Taken away by the Capitals. Now Fryer fighting for it. Columbus gathers the loose puck into the offensive zone. Taken away. What do we have here? Penalty on Columbus once again. Aggressive play puts the Force on their third power play of the game at 5:46 left in the second, up 1 goal. Power play unit being left on by Fort Wayne is going to be Fraze, Fryer, McDonald with Cumberland and Blackburn. Face-off left on the doorstep, now gathered up by Columbus. Kept in, not by Blackburn. So he turns and fires it back in the offensive zone. Up ahead for Fort Wayne is going to be Murphy Fraze. As Fryer keeps it in onto the stick of Fraze. Fraze walks it to the center. Reverses. Has Cumberland, feeds it to him. Cumberland going to wind one up, shoots. Tipped over high of the net. Fraze to rip it back down deep. McDonald ahead for Fort Wayne. Gathers the puck behind the net. Has possession of the puck, tries to feed it to Fryer out front. Loose change out front. Murphy Fraze fires one towards the net. Off the mark and goes around behind. Gathered up by Columbus. Cross ice pass, doesn't connect, skips rink wide. Fraze going to gather it up. Feeds it back into the neutral zone. Columbus touches up. Doesn't get anything on that pass. As it comes ahead. Taken away by Blackburn. Loose puck gathered by Columbus. As the puck comes back to Blackburn, he's got some open ice and gonna bring it up himself. Feeds it ahead to Cumberland. Taken away by the Capitals. Blackburn steals it, puts it into the neutral zone. So we are gonna have that penalty expire on Columbus. Nothing doing on the power play. Ripped high off the glass and into the neutral zone by Fraze. Picked up by McDonald. He's racing towards the net. Hasn't knocked off his stick as he comes off his skates. Gets up though quickly and has chance at the puck. Just overskated it. Fryer now challenging the Capitals player. Kept in at the blue line by Warner. He rips one towards the net. Just off the mark. McDonald now to pick it up. Deep in the offensive zone. Dumped around behind the net. Fryer. Fed ahead by the Capitals through the neutral zone. Warner and Llewellyn back on defense. Swinging wide and tied up by a back-checking Fraze. Potts flips it into the neutral zone. Capitals feed it lightly deep into the offensive zone. Ripped around the boards. Broke out now to Fraze. Fraze ahead for Fort Wayne. Loses it in his skates. Picked up by Sutherland. Sutherland towards the net. Swinging wide. Backhands it. Nobody home in the slot. Fraze now puts it back. Through the crease it goes. Warner to pick it up. Swings wide. Round one. Loses the handle on it. Columbus taking it the other way. Back on defense is going to be Llewellyn. We're going to have a penalty here. Picked up by Warner. Swinging wide. Takes a shot. No. Wraps around behind the net. And touched up by Fraze as the Force will go on their first penalty kill with 2:43 remaining in the second. Penalty killers is going to be Fraze, Sutherland, Blackburn, and Cumberland from 1:30. So that'll leave us a little over a minute remaining when we come off of this penalty on Warner. Puck comes rink wide for Sutherland, gathered up now by the Capitals, back down deep for Blackburn. Steals it away, tries to get it to Fraze. Puck on the stick of the Capitals players as they do a little bit of passing here. Cumberland now flips it down into the opposite corner, gathered up by Sutherland. Up high at the blue line by the Capitals, but it goes into the neutral zone. They touch up and dump it back in deep. Controlled by Cumberland as he feeds it off the glass. Capitals keep it in. Not sure where the puck is. It's on the stick of Fraze. Fraze around one player. Tries to keep a handle on it. His advancement is stopped by the Capitals. Under 30 seconds remains on the penalty on Warner. Blackburn back on defense on the stick of Sutherland. Tries to feed it cross ice. Pass doesn't connect with Cumberland, but he comes in to take it. Fraze is knocked off his skates, and the Capitals are going to pick up a penalty. So 1:27 remains. 14 seconds on the Warner penalty, and the Capitals will put themselves down a skater for 1.5 minutes. 4-on-4 hockey for 14 seconds. Face-off one by Fort Wayne. Zaremba feeds it into a Capitals player on the stick. McDonald. McDonald, round one, loses the handle on it, covered up by the goaltender from Columbus. Loose change picked up by Zaremba as he's looking to feed. Lose the handle on the puck as they break it out. Out of the box is Warner. Tied up. Zaremba fighting good for the puck. Columbus picks it up in open ice and dumps it in deep. Under a minute to play here in the second period. Gathered up by Warner behind the net. On to the stick of McDonald. McDonald's got Kiefer. He couldn't get it to him. Stolen away by Columbus. Back checking McDonald, slows his advancement. Ties him up in the corner, pitches him off, picked up by Llewellyn. Llewellyn racing ahead. He's got Kiefer and Zaremba. Loses a handle on it, but into some open ice here. 30 seconds remains as Llewellyn walks it in. Round one, round two, shot, punch to the side by the blocker of Columbus. Kept in by Llewellyn up high, throws another shot towards the net into the skates of Columbus defender, picked up by Zaremba, feeds one down, saved by Columbus. Blocked pass attempt by Kiefer. Tied up. Under 10 seconds now. Zaremba feeds it back down low. It bounces weird off the boards for Kiefer. Kiefer backhands one. Covered up by Columbus. .4 seconds, so puck drop and end of the period. There'll be 2 seconds remaining on the power play into the third for Fort Wayne. Faceoff was won back to Warner. He was cocked, ready to go. Let that one rip. Up 1 after 2 is Fort Wayne. So we'll be testing how much gas they have in their tank. Down a handful of skaters. 14 minutes. 1 period to go. Up 1. On the ice to start the third. On defense is Blackburn and Cumberland with Fryer, Sutherland, and Fraze. Face off, controlled by Fort Wayne. Sutherland with the puck. Dumps it in deep. Nah, might have went into the bench. Thought he put it off the glass, but didn't see it squirt out, so. Put it into the bench of the Capitals. Going to take the face off. Is Sutherland. Capitals pick up that puck. Challenged by Cumberland. Blackburn there as well. Blackburn knocks it off his stick and feeds it back the other way. Tried to get a Fryer. Fryer puts it all the way down the ice. It's going to be on net. Nope. Icing. Face-off controlled by the Capitals for the moment. Back the other way. Fryer feeds it off the boards. Kept in by Columbus at the blue line. Shoot one down low. Tied up by Blackburn. Puck comes out behind the net. Blackburn back to gather it. Tries to get it to Fryer. Back and forth it goes. Loose puck picked up by Fraze. Chips around one player from Columbus. Murphy pinched off on the boards. Now taken away by Fryer. As the puck is walked and kicked down the ice. Blackburn picks it up. Reverses it, puts it in the offensive zone for the Force. Entering in is Columbus. Puck's knocked off the stick for a second there by Cumberland and comes out to Murphy. Blackburn comes off is smiling at me as he falls. Should be watching the play. Walked in by Fraze. Kept in, almost kept in at the blue line by McDonald. So they're still smiling after falling. 12:43 remains here in the third. As Max McDonald's going to take the face off. Back for Llewellyn, loses it, regains and throws it the other way. Potts down there fighting for it. Columbus breaks it out through center ice here. Warner and Llewellyn back on defense. Shot. Pad save there by Quas. McDonald pinched off. Potts joining the mix now for Fort Wayne. Fed up high to the blue line by Columbus. Stopping that passing lane was Zaremba, and blocking it is Potts. Pushed to the side by McDonald. Picked up by Potts. As they're going to pinch a player off here in the corner. And the puck's going nowhere. Finally comes out for Potts, chips it ahead to Zaremba. Can't quite get a handle on it as McDonald comes in to put it into the neutral zone. Lost in a handful of players' skates once again. Caping it in there is McDonald, and now Potts to keep it in as Columbus can't clear it. Cross ice pass for Columbus. Warner there on defense with Llewellyn in position. Shot, not on target. Rink wide. Picked up by and we have a penalty here. It must have been behind the play because I didn't see anything. I'm not even sure who it's on. It's on Warner. So I believe we have a slashing penalty on Warner. 11:29 remaining in the third. Down a skater. Penalty kill unit for Fort Wayne is going to be Sutherland, Fraze, Cumberland, Blackburn. Face-off won by the Capitals. Up high. Shot attempt blocked by Blackburn out front. Another shot kicked around and goes wide. Cumberland there ahead for Fort Wayne. Puts it to Sutherland, dumped into the neutral zone. Onto the stick of Cumberland. Back the other way goes the Capitals as it's fed around behind the net. And the Capitals going to beat Fort Wayne to the puck. Comes out front. Can't get anything on it. Just goes wide. A little bit of luck on the side of Fort Wayne as that was a wide open spot of the net. And they put it just wide. Fed up off the glass and into the neutral zone by the Force. Fed back down low. Blackburn going to gather it behind his own net. Pitches it up ahead onto the stick of Fraze. Fraze beats him around the puck. Fraze has got one to beat. Fraze walking in short-handed. Around another one. Shot. Glove save by Columbus initially. It's on the doorstep and covered up. 25 seconds remains on the Warner penalty. 10:24 remaining in the period. Face-off win by the Force. Back for Llewellyn. Kept in by Mason. Fed up and out by Columbus. And they're going to beat him to the puck. They're going to have a race here. Getting back in position as Llewellyn ties up that shot. Nice back check by Mason. Tied up by Kiefer down low. He comes off his skates. Fed out. Shot save. Quas. Rebound attempt covered up by Quas. And a good save there by Wyatt. 10 minutes left in this one. 5 seconds on the Warner penalty. Face off into the corner. Challenged by Llewellyn, trying to clear it out. Columbus comes away with it, feeds the slot. Shot attempt goes wide. Out of the box is Warner. Picked up by Kiefer to Fryer. Ahead to McDonald. Stopped advancement by Capitals. Now onto the stick of McDonald. McDonald picking it up with some open ice. Cross the line to gain. Loses a handle on it for the moment. Picked up by Kiefer. The other way for the Capitals. Back on defense is Llewellyn and Warner. They knock the puck loose. Oh, Lord. Llewellyn almost put that in his own net. 9:21. 5-on-5 hockey. Face off to the right of Quas. Won by the Capitals on the stick of Potts. Kept it at the blue line by Columbus. Fire a shot, block out in front. There by Cumberland. Feeds it up to Potts. Potts gathers that puck. He's got Zaremba and Sutherland. Zaremba picks up that puck. I don't know if he came back across the blue line or what that was, so it might have been offsides. 9 minutes left. Face-off comes back to Blackburn. Blackburn puts it in the offensive zone for the Force. Gathered by the Capitals down deep, pressured ahead there by Potts. Puck up and out. Goes around Cumberland and racing into the corner for the puck. It's going to be Aiden. Flips it around the boards. The opposing corner. Potts to pick it up. He's tied up. Columbus keeps it in. Knocked off his stick onto the stick of Sutherland. Sutherland puts it wisely into the neutral zone. Cross ice pass connects for Columbus. Blackburn back on defense. Pushes him wide. Shot goes high, way up over the net. Gathered by Sutherland now. Back into center ice. Cross ice, touched up and entered by Columbus. Shot towards the net. Goes off the side. Pick up by Cumberland. He's getting pressured but handles it well and fires it off the glass. It takes a weird bounce and exits. As Fort Wayne gets a change. Racing ahead is Columbus, tied up by McDonald. He strips it, throws it back into the neutral zone. Now Zaremba there for Fort Wayne. Apply the pressure. Entered by Columbus, defended by Warner, and McDonald flipped around by Zaremba. Zaremba going to pick up the puck as Columbus almost went on change. They got him back, feeds it over to Fraze. Murphy towards the net, shot. Couldn't get anything on it. Left it on the doorstep. It's not covered up. Loose puck out front, cleared by the Capitals. Gathered by Warner. Good shot opportunities there by Fort Wayne. Oh, good pass there from Warner to Fraze. Couldn't quite get a handle on it. 7 minutes remains in this contest. Kiefer there now for Fort Wayne to challenge. Stops their advancement. They still get in the offensive zone and walk it down low. Defended by Warner. Once again onto the stick of Colton as he fires it around the boards. Kept in by the Capitals. And now Kiefer puts it into some open ice, and Frey's going to beat him to the puck. Frey's got one to beat here. Goes around 1, 2, towards the net. On his backhand. Stops, fires it. Score! Murphy Fraze with a goal. So it's 6.5 minutes remaining. The Force are back up 2. Face-off controlled by the Capitals. Dumped in deep. Back together is going to be Blackburn. Couldn't get to it first as Columbus beats him, steals it. Blackburn up the other way, around one player, gets it ahead. Max McDonald going to be ahead skater for the Force. Got a couple there. Walks it in. Puck doesn't reach the net. Columbus back the other way. Blackburn gonna beat him to the puck and feeds it around behind the net. Cumberland touches it even further up ahead to McDonald as he tries to feed it around up and out, kept in by the Capitals and fed back down low. They can't quite get a handle on this puck. Feed it up to the blue line, shot from deep, blocked in front there by his own player. Kiefer touches up to Fraze and McDonald. 2-on-1 the other way. Fraze has got him beat, walks it in, loses the handle on it, leaves it down for McDonald. They slide into the goaltender. It's out front. Walking up is Llewellyn. Llewellyn tries to crank one out there and can't get anything on it. Now Kiefer couldn't put it in. Cleared out by the Capitals. Dumped the other way by Llewellyn. Touched into the offensive zone. Capitals gain possession of the puck. No, now, oh, yes, they do. Through center ice. Llewellyn and Warner back on defense. Push them wide. Warner comes off his skates. 2-on-1, feeds the slot. Nobody home. Capitals player coming up to grab it. Shoots one towards the net, and it's off behind the net. Kiefer trying to force it ahead. Couldn't touch the puck up as it's back down low for Columbus. Nobody following, though, as Warner gathers it up and backhands it up to McDonald. Back to Warner. High off the glass. Around to Kiefer. Fed into the neutral zone. Picked up by Columbus. Back for Warner once again as he rips one down the ice. It's going to be spinning and not have enough for icing. Approaching the 4-minute mark. Up 2 goals. Puck into the offensive zone, skating towards the net. Shot kicked to the side by Quas, now gathered up by Warner. Warner's got Fryer and Sutherland ahead. He comes off his skates. It's going to be offsides. Capitals, 3:58, up 2. We got a timeout from Columbus. After the timeout, face-off at center ice is going to be taken by Sutherland. Wins it back to Blackburn. Blackburn feeds it ahead. Potts up there for the force, but Columbus bounced back the other way. Blackburn to keep it in the neutral zone. Ties them up for the moment as Columbus comes away with it. Into the corner, challenged by Sutherland. Loose puck out for Zaremba. Zaremba is going to have 2 defenders there to beat. Dumps it down deep in the offensive zone for Fort Wayne. Puck around the boards, gathered up by Columbus. Back falling down there is Cumberland, so Blackburn and a back checking. Oh my God, did that not go in? There we go, Wyatt Quas. As he saves it, somehow diving back across his crease. Keeping the force up 2 after a great save by Wyatt. Face-off win by the Force. Columbus now coming away with it. Challenged by Warner. Swinging wide. Shot. Cuts through. Covered up by Quas. Face-off one again by Fort Wayne. Comes over to Fraze. Fraze rips it down the ice. It's touched in the neutral zone by the Capitals. 3 minutes remains. Fed down deep by Columbus. Onto the stick of Warner. Now Llewellyn around the boards. Gathered by the Capitals. Challenged by McDonald. Picked up by Fraze. Fraze gathers it up. Round 1. He's got open ice now. Can't get it out. Kept in by the Capitals. Backhands it towards the slot, challenged by Llewellyn onto the stick of McDonald. McDonald flips it ahead, touches it up to Fraze. Murphy now through the neutral zone, loses it in his skates. Picked up by Llewellyn for the moment. Columbus bringing it in. Warner flips it back into the open ice, knocks the stick right out of the hands of the Capitals defender. Shot Not on the mark. Gathered by McDonald. 2:20 remains in the contest. Coming over to help out is Llewellyn. They feed it off the side of the net. Picked up by Fraze. Fraze now going to rip it high. It's going on an open net. Just wide. Almost connected from downtown is Murphy Fraze. To try to put the dagger in this one. 2:05 remains. Empty net for the Capitals. And we're going to have a timeout called at 2:05. The final 2 minutes, 5 seconds, up 2 scores is Fort Wayne. Empty net for the Capitals. It's going to be puck battles 1. And there we go, face off won by McDonald. Fraze flips around. Fraze got some open ice here. Around another one. Murphy towards the open net. Can he get it in there? Yes, score! Murphy Fraze with the empty netter. (5-2) under 2 minutes now. Goaltender back in net for Columbus. Face-off picked up by the Capitals. Stolen away by Kiefer. Kiefer enters wide, dumps it in deep. Taken away by Kiefer. Now on the stick of the Capitals with Cumberland. Blackburn back on defense. Back checking there is Remba as well as Sutherland. Cumberland picks it up. Winds it behind his own net. Gonna cross up a couple players here. Around a third. Cumberland mounting an attack with Kiefer and Zaremba in tow. Around a fourth. Coast to coast is Cumberland as now he feeds the crease. Another shot off the side of the net by Kiefer. Covered up with 1:04 remaining. Face-off win by the Capitals. Under a minute to play. 5-2 Force. Tying them up on the wrong end of the ice for Columbus. Into the neutral zone. Back on defense is Warner. McDonald there. Pick up the puck and feed it out of danger as Columbus player goes right into the net. Fryer now with the puck. Puts it off the boards and down the ice. Icing's waved off. Under 30 seconds now. Puck fed ahead into center ice. Stopped there by Warner. Columbus now with the puck. Cross the line to gain. Walking it out wide. Shot. Punch to the side by the block of Quas. Secondary shot off the side of the net. Gather in the corner. Feed the blue line. Under 10 seconds now. It feeds it over to his partner that's not there. Fryer puts it down the ice. And that's going to do it. Fort Wayne takes game 2, 5-2 over the Columbus Capitals after dropping the first game 6-2. So game script flipped, and Force come away with a victory. Thank everybody for watching, and next weekend we'll be in Chicago for a tournament. We'll see you there.